Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Good Intentions with Lisa-Tien. That is me. It's another get ready with me epi because my client today canceled, which is fine, whatever. So I'm kind of like on call in between now and whenever my next scheduled client is going to be. So I think it's a perfect time to film another episode, which YouTube has been giving me issues. Just trying to get everything, just trying to upload the actual video. It's been taking like a long time. Last week's episode still hasn't even uploaded. So I'm sorry, guys. I just don't know what to do about it. It's just a waiting game, I suppose. Well, where I can't flip my hair. I've got something on my neck. This last weekend, you guys, was just overall like the perfect weekend. I had so much fun. It's kind of crazy. So let's backtrack. I am 100%, maybe like 95% detached from side piece. If we need a little update, I did hook up with him. I don't remember. It's been like a few weeks actually. And then I just deleted my Snapchat because, well, if you guys have been listening, you know, like it's just not healthy for me. You know, go off, do you, boo. But it's not for me. Like, I think he's absolutely adorable. But yeah, anxiety. It's just, you know, we want to be respected and we want something meaningful. So it's like, you're not going to get that if you're expending energy on something that's not going to get you there. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a distraction, and that's great. And we love a trauma bond, whatever distraction. It's actually like a love hate, but I feel completely detached. I actually did re-download Snapchat the other day, and he hasn't messaged me either. And I was like, okay, well, it's kind of like kismet. Like, it just is the perfect ending. It's fine. And I think it's been 2 weeks since I've thrown the vape away. We have not been craving it. We have not been wanting it. I think that is also amazing. However, I have replaced it with the ganja. But I don't know. I feel like that's fine because I'm not smoking like all day, every day. It's just I'll take a couple hits like after work. On my day off, I might take a couple hits, you know, after the gym. But I'm still getting things done, which is great because it would be a different story if I was just freaking baked and doing absolutely nothing. But I'm still, you know, like going on walks, walking in the sun when I'm high, listening to music has just been so divine. So I've been doing that, and we'll see. We'll see if it's something that like I can handle and not, you know, have a hardcore like addiction and unhingedness with, as far as like eating habits, because that's also like a situation. So let me just tell you guys, letting go, detaching, right? Meditating, this, that, or whatever, just like, you know, working on our usual things. And my bestie's sister's birthday was Saturday, and I was super pumped for it. Went out to 7th Street. It's a Jersey Shore themed birthday party, so I dressed as JWoww. And I was at work Saturday, and actually, before I got to work, I was thinking to myself, so this was whenever I was at home getting ready for work. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I remember when me and Sweet Baby Angel were talking, and we talked about Jersey Shore, and we've both seen Jersey Shore through and through. And I had this thought to myself, maybe I'll send him a picture of me dressed as Jay. Wow, I don't know. Whatever. I haven't heard from him from the last time we hung out, which was probably about 2 weeks ago. And it's just like chill, like I don't have that attachment, which I think is so, that's pretty healthy, Wow, look at me. And I remember I had that thought, right? But then I was just like, whatever. And okay, so now I'm at work. I'm like blow drying my client's hair or something like that. And guess who sends me a text message? I was so, it's just, let me reel it back in because I don't want to sound like really woo-woo, but I mean, I am woo-woo and it just is what it is. So here we go. The fact that like I thought about texting him earlier that day, have not conversed with him in the last 2 weeks. I have this thought, oh, maybe I'll send him a text, a picture or whatever. And then he reaches out to me. Just like, I mean, there's so many synchronicities. So then the last time we hung out, I hit him up because I'm trying to detach from Jay. So then I just reached back out to him. But I mean, he has been on my mind. I never really wanted to reach out to him because I was like, oh, he's probably moved on. And also back when we were talking, I felt like I was the one that was kind of more so throwing myself at him. So it's just one of those situations where I was like, like if he, I don't know, was interested or like thought of me, then he would reach out. And I don't want to be the one to do the chasing, because I've done that my whole entire life. So inevitably I reached out to him because I was detaching from Side Piece. Hopefully, I wonder if I said his name out loud. Oops. Side Piece. But the fact that I reached out to him, and he's got like a busy schedule. I mean, he works weekends sometimes too. The fact that he was available, perfect timing, within like the last, because he said I could not have texted him at a more perfect time because like the last few weeks was pretty crazy for him at work. Okay, so the fact that I texted him at the most absolute perfect time, but also he just happened to be out at the stockyards as well, is where I was going to go. And I never go to the stockyards ever. I've been once for our Christmas party, our work Christmas party, and that was it. Right. And then, that one time when I was detaching from him and I was meditating and all this stuff. And this was another salon Christmas party. So when we went out to the stockyards, it was like the whole salon, South Lake and Fort Worth. So this was just the Fort Worth location where we kind of just had White Elephant and drank at the salon after work. And the Fort Worth location is walking distance from his apartment. And I remember thinking to myself, like, oh, like maybe I'll message him, maybe this, that, or whatever. But then I was like, no, like I don't want to be that girl, And then the fact that he ends up, like there were 3 different times that night I thought to myself, maybe I should reach out to him. Whenever I was at the salon, whenever I was out, because we inevitably went out, and I just thought, like maybe he's, doing something or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then whenever I got the Uber back to my car, I was like, I mean, he's like right there, but I didn't. And then I went to bed and woke up and he messaged me. All of these synchronicities, the fact that, so how I met him originally, I cut his hair, right? The fact that like he wasn't even booked under me, he was booked under someone else, and she moved him to me so that she could take a color client. Like all of these little things where it just, and I also remembered this one moment. So this was before I even met him. I had just left for the first time my ex-husband, and I was moved out. And he had sent me this email, thanking me for leaving him, saying that if I hadn't left, he wouldn't have realized everything that he needed to realize. And he learned all of this stuff just after however many days it's been. And he had his appointment with our coach and all that stuff. Anyway, I remember going to lunch with my bestie after work, and we worked in the Fort Worth, like Magnolia area. So we went to Salsa Limon, my first time there. And I remember there wasn't a lot of people there. I remember just like scoping the scene. I'm always scoping the scene. And I said out loud to her, I was like, oh, there's some cuties up in here, referring to this person. And she was like, where? Like, we have different types. I remember seeing him and I thought he was cute. Flash forward to whenever I went out on that first date or whatever with Sweet Baby Angel. Of course, I stayed the night. He like kissed me goodbye in the morning and he was wearing scrubs. Okay, so when we were at Salsa Limon, these two guys were wearing scrubs, blue scrubs. Flash forward to waking up, him kissing me goodbye in his scrubs. I remember thinking to myself, like, oh my gosh, he looks so cute. And also thinking, like, he kind of looks familiar. Fast forward all these months, I don't remember when I connected the two, but I had this thought a while ago that, like, I wonder if that was him. So this last weekend when we were out, I was like, hey, have you been to Salsa Limon during lunch, like during the week with a coworker? And he was like, I think I've only been like once. And I was like, and you were wearing scrubs, like blue scrubs. And this was when his hair was a lot longer, like before I cut it. And he was like, yeah. And I said, because there weren't any other people there. It was just like us and then the people that worked there. And he was like, yeah, because it was like really rainy that day. And I was like, it was raining. It was like pouring down rain. So like, that's just so wild to me that we crossed paths before we even met. And I don't know. I trust the universe. I feel very like just sure. I feel very in my element. I have not felt like this in, I don't know, it's been a while. I think because I kept struggling with like vaping and stuff. And now that I'm not struggling with that, like I just feel overall just absolutely wonderful, like absolutely wonderful, absolutely amazing, trusting the universe that everything is going to work out. Regardless, like it's not just with Sweet Baby Angel, but just synchronicities and things happening in life, just like in general. So one of my bosses, he has this cutie client, and I remember I've seen him 3 times. I remember the first time I saw him, I didn't see his face, but I just saw the back of his head, and I was like, based off the back of his head, I bet he's cute. And I told somebody that, and they like did a walk by and was like, oh yeah, he's cute. And then the second time I saw him, I was like, oh, I think that's the same guy. And each time I told my boss who cut his hair, I was like, oh, he's super cutie. And so after that second time he was there, it was like, you know what? Next time he's in there, I'm going to talk to him. And that's what I told myself. And this was like last week or 2 weeks ago, actually. Guess who comes in a week later to get his hair touched up? Him. And I saw him sitting up at the front. I was like, oh my God, what is he doing back again? I guess he just wanted his hair a little shorter. And I wasn't going to say anything, but I was like, I told myself last week that when I see him in here again, I'm going to talk to him. So I just forced myself to go up to him and say anything, right? Like I'm in my head, I'm like, what do I even say? So I was just went up to him and I was like, can I just say that you're really handsome? And the whole interaction was very unexpected. Like I wasn't expecting him to stand up, because now I'm like, my ADHD ass, he stands up, I'm like, oh my God, he's tall. And so now we're talking while we're standing up, and his eyes were just like piercing blue. Whenever I would look at him directly in the eyes, like I would kind of just like giggle, because I'm so like, whatever. I just thought that was so crazy. And then me like working on my confidence again and just being more like unapologetically myself. I am working so hard towards becoming that person again, but even like better, more evolved. Just reflecting back on like how I used to be and unlearning the things that I learned in my marriage. It's been I mean, it's been a journey. It's been a process. I think I've said this a few times actually, that I was definitely way more confident. I've always been insecure, I think, in different ways. So, like in the past, I was insecure in a sense where I was kind of like afraid to be vulnerable. And I think me, hooking up with guys gave me like a sense of control or whatever. So it's like if I go on a date with someone who I think is cute and, like I want to hook up with him or whatever, like I never waited. The only person that I ever waited with was, my ex-boyfriend. And that was just because we were friends first and I wasn't, like attracted to him in that kind of way at first, right? And then that turned into a relationship. So just me reflecting back on how I showed up in all of those instances and just, like hooking up, having fun or whatever, or thinking that I'm having fun when really I think it's just a way to like push people away maybe, because I would like hook up with them and then think to myself, all right, well, I mean, that was fun. And either we'll hook up again and they'll, want to date me at some point. And if they don't, then that's cool. But that was always the case, right? Was like, they never really, it was just that for them because I already gave it up. So after reading Why Men Love Bitches, it's just very like guys want to hook up with you, obviously. And when you do hook up with them, before they've even put in any effort, like it's kind of like game over. I think obviously not every guy, but some of them might judge you, for hooking up with them on the first date. Some of them are like, oh, like it kind of, sex happens differently for men and women. I think whenever women have sex, we have these like chemical things that are happening in our body, like oxytocin and whatever else hormone things that are revving through our body, and it kind of tricks us into thinking that we have this connection with this person just based off of like the hormones and the feelings and the chemistry that's happening in our bodies whenever we are intimate. And with men, it's different. It's like they have all of this working up in their bodies, like whenever they want to have sex. And then after they have sex, it's kind of like, I forget what, maybe it's serotonin or something for them. Could be wrong, but where they're just, oh, okay, like I got it. Like I'm chill now, I'm blah, they say post nut clarity, and that is exactly it. It's like, they see someone, they see a girl or whatever, and they're like, damn, she's hot. Like I want to do this. I want to try this just to either be with her or just be with her sexually. And then once they get that, it's kind of just like, oh, well, like I said, the game's over. So I don't remember the purpose of me going on this tangent. Oh, the confidence. Yes. So back then I was confident in a sense where I was like, yeah, like I'm cool, I'm great, I'm an awesome person, you either want to be with me or you don't want to be with me. I didn't ever really like second guess myself. And now reflecting back and just again unlearning all the things that I did learn, I feel like, I mean, I do be second guessing myself. And honestly, I kind of started to give myself the ick whenever Sweet Baby Angel and I were out on Saturday, because I was word vomiting so freaking hard. And a part of me was like, oh my God, like, does he think I'm annoying? Does he think this? Does he think I'm insecure? Blah, blah, blah. And I actually made a reel, and I'm kind of very sad that it only got 3 or 4 likes on Instagram and TikTok, but I don't know. Maybe it's just the time of day that I posted it. I posted it like first thing in the morning. It's just when you are on this healing journey after a abusive relationship, like these things will pop up. You might wonder if someone thinks that you're incompetent, or if other men look at you and they think that you're fat or overweight, if they can see the damage that has been caused, you know what I mean? And that is something that I am very insecure about. I'm just like, I try to show up in the best way possible, in my best version of myself. And then there's a little tiny part where it's like, oh, but are you a fraud? You know? And because we were out and we were drinking, and I also smoked, I had taken a Vyvanse that morning, actually. And I just felt so zooted. I think because I just didn't have that much to eat, and then I drank coffee. So whenever we did go out, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to smoke a couple hits. It's weird, just to kind of mellow out, but my anxiety was still through the roof. I was just a lot slower than being fast, like when I'm on my Vyvanse. But overall, I had such a great time, though. Like, yeah, I did start to give myself the ick, and I started to kind of like second guess myself a little bit for like word vomiting and saying so much, being vulnerable or whatever, and wondering if he's judging me for it. But I texted the group chat about it, and I was like, okay, I kind of need a boost, or I forget what the fuck I said, but I think I was like a pep talk. But I ended up giving myself a pep talk. Kind of just explained how I word vomited, how I said this, how I kept like, oh, I'm like working on being more confident and this, that, or whatever, and I'm kind of insecure about this and blah, 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 blah. And then in the end, giving myself the pep talk as in like, he's either going to see that as me being vulnerable and me being real and actually be really into it, or he's going to see it as me being insecure and then not really wanting anything to do with me. But either way, that's fine. Like, it's either working for me or it's not. And if it's not working for me, that means there's something else that's out there that is going to work for me. So that kind of shut me the fuck up a little bit. But overall, like, I was reflecting on that weekend, and it was just a perfect weekend, because I mean, he was a pretty big part of it, but I was just so social. And a part of me kind of wished that I was that social without substances, you know? But usually if I'm smoking, I'm not social. So I thought that was really crazy. Like, I talked to everyone. We started off, I think, at Second Rodeo, and just talking to the people next to me, talking to the people in line in the bathroom, giving people compliments, like anything that I thought I would just say, if I liked their boots, if I thought they were pretty, blah, blah, blah. And like, just, I felt so in my element. And then I ran into this girl, Erica. We used to live in the same neighborhood, and we went to the same school together. And that was so nice to run into her. I haven't seen her, I think, since high school. And we actually ran into her twice at Second Rodeo and I think Basement Bar. I thought that was so cool. And then, yes, continuing to talk to people when I was out, and then just, you know, hang out with him was very fun. And then, again, my bestie's sister's birthday. So got ready at his place, went out, dressed as JWoww, and I think I was out on 7th for maybe like an hour. And that was a lot of fun. And then went back to his place because I wasn't even expecting that. He had asked me like how I'm getting home or what am I doing with a ride. And I was like, I don't know. Either way, I'm leaving my car at his apartment. I was like, I might just Uber home, or, you know, I don't know, not drink and just get my car and drive. And he was like, well, I can just give you my key fob. And I was like, oh, okay. He said he wanted me to be safe, so it's either that or he just wanted me to color for other things. Okay, I'm going to try to put on this lip really fast. I really, though, don't want to be drinking like that all of the time if we're going out. Also invited him to Breakaway. I hope he can come. Either way, though, I'm going to be social as fuck. Just talking to people. Breakaway is this show coming up April 4th and 5th. I'm just going on this Saturday. I'm going to see Griffin, and I promise you 100% I will cry during his set, because I've been wanting to see him for like 2 years, and he doesn't really, I mean, this is the first time he's coming to Dallas in 2 years, so I hope Sweet Baby Angel can come, and if he doesn't, then, you know, I'm going to have an experience when I'm out. I'm going to meet people. It's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. And I feel like one of the things that has been getting me into this element is just like embodying this confidence, like just smiling and the energy, like walking taller and just embodying the confidence basically. And it definitely helped when I had the courage to go up to that guy, my boss's client, and talk to him. And then I think the next day, this guy, I was walking up to the gym and this man held the door open for me. And I kind of just smiled at him and I was like, he said, "You're beautiful, by the way." I was like, first thing in the morning, like no makeup on. Did I have my eyelashes on? I think I did, actually. Yeah. But then that just made me smile like the rest of the day. And I smiled at 2 people at the gym that day. And I'm really working on it. Like, we are that bitch. It is and will always take conscious effort to remind yourself that you are that bitch. And because you are. Like, of course, insecurities will pop up. That's all natural. That's all part of being human. That's all, like we're living, we have memories and stuff like that. But to be a certain person and to manifest, to attract, you have to embody this certain energy. You have to vibrate at this frequency. You have to trust in yourself, believe in yourself, and trust the universe. You have to believe that you are deserving and everything is working out for you. And because if you don't believe those things, you're not going to be able to attract or manifest whatever it is that you want. And you might be able to, but it doesn't ever stick around because insecurities pop up and this, that, or whatever. So it's just, you're in this like mid cycle, and to break free and to expedite, and I don't know what I'm trying to say, like be exponentially whatever, like you truly have to live it, breathe it, embody it, feel it, right? I'm very level-headed when it is coming to sweet baby angel, which I am so grateful for, that I'm not, ADHD hyper fixating, like obsessed with him like I was with side piece. But side piece was just a distraction, right? And so with side piece, there was pain there. It's not from him, but it's just like this longing to be chosen, or this longing for this attention or whatever. It's like this person that isn't emotionally available and isn't really interested in you in that kind of way. People like us, people like me, people that have these unhealed childhood wounds, specifically like me, right? We are going to long for someone like that, because it's like whenever they do choose you, you're like, "Oh, I'm worthy of love. I'm deserving," right? But you don't. That's just a toxic, heartbreaking, messy kind of thing, because that's not going to fuel you. That's not going to give you what it is that you need. You are the person that is going to give you what you need. So you have to be that person. You have to set the boundaries. You have to step up and believe with your whole body and soul that you're fine, right? That you're beautiful and you're amazing, and the right person is going to come along and see you for who you are and want to give you and show you all of this amazing love that you've been waiting for and wanting and longing for. And it's just going to be absolutely amazing. It's not going to be like Disney princess, this is it, this is great, this is happily ever after, right? Because things are going to come up, life happens, there are going to be things that you got to work through. But whenever it's the right person, whenever you know how to communicate, and there's love and patience and there's non-judgment there, I feel like it's going to be work, but it's going to be fulfilling and amazing. It's like when you have a job and it's something that you actually love to do, right? You're going to work, but you love doing it. It's literally the same, actually. So, like, love can be scary. Definitely, right? Because you're being vulnerable, you're being open, you're inviting someone else to see your flaws and your insecurities and hoping and wanting that they're going to accept you and love you unconditionally as you would them and all these things. And I guess I could say that, like, I could be scared. I could be afraid, right? Oh, well, maybe he just wants to hook up, maybe this, maybe that, or because he has a demanding job, what if he's not going to be as emotionally available or as present if we did decide to date, if we did start a family, this, that, or whatever. But I feel like you just have to trust either way that everything's going to work out, whether it's with him or not with him. I think my friend brought up this red string theory, which is Asian culture descent, where they believe that as soon as you're born, you and someone else are connected with this invisible red string, and the universe works to have your paths cross until it's like the right time or whatever, like you're like destined or meant to be together. And I don't want to get too, again, for the second time, I don't want to get too woo-woo, but I am. I don't know if that's what I get. Hi, Sunday. Do you want to be on the podcast? You can come up here. This is Sunday. What was I saying? The red string theory. I am just going to see how it goes, because it might not, it might not work. I mean, it might not. Who knows? Who knows? Anything can happen, right? I just truly, again, I feel like this is the most in my element I've been in months, especially when I'm looking back and I'm editing these podcast episodes. Like one week I would be like, I'm on the up and up. And then the next week I'm like, I'm fucking spiraling. And then the next week I'm like, I'm on the up and up. And then the next week I'm like, I'm spiraling again. It's been 2 weeks and I feel very on the up and up, very just like sure of the universe. It's kind of great. I'm very excited for the show. I think, what do I have coming up this weekend? I've got a little roommate outing. And then I believe the next week I've got one of the girls I work with, her birthday and last day at work celebration. And then it's the show. It's the show. And then it's going to Houston to see my nephew for his birthday. So that's going to be really fun. I'm excited. I'm excited for all the things. I'm excited for summer. Everything is working out for me. And I 100% believe that. Again, going back to, because I think I had a purpose of what I was trying to say when I said detaching from side piece, like that whole situation where I said like it's quote unquote painful, and the painful part is you're like holding on to a rope, right? And just holding on to it and pulling it and just like not letting go, and the rope is just cutting up, burning your hand, you're sweating, you're like, it's causing you pain holding on to whatever, like something that you know is not meant for you, something that you know isn't going to be anything. It's just, you're caught up in this moment, you're caught up in this feeling, you're caught up in, oh, well, what if, or whatever, and you're just like, you just can't let it go, right? Last episode or the episode before that, 2 + 2 = 4. Like, it is so simple. The answer is right there. The answer for me this whole time, since the first time he bailed on me, is delete him. stop talking to him, you know? Like the first time he bailed on me, how many more times did he bail? Like, what the fuck was I? And I'm just like holding on because he's hot and validation and whatever. Like, so many times, like, just delete him. And then just physically feeling like, oh, I can't, I don't want to, right? And even still now, like, I had to delete Snapchat. Like, what the fuck is up with that? Instead of just deleting him. It's just like this person that I'm attracted to, but literally don't even want to be in a relationship with. So it's just like, the answer is so simple, and it's gonna feel hard. It's gonna feel like you can't, but literally you just have to fucking let that rope go and just trust the unraveling, and whatever is going to flow through will flow through. Whatever is going to work is going to work. Like me finally deleting Snapchat and like not being in contact with him, everything has been unraveling. I'm not wanting to vape. Granted, I am still smoking, but it's not nicotine and it's not all day, every day. And I don't feel this like fucking anxiety, right? Whenever I am smoking weed, it helps me like embody. I mean, sometimes I do get paranoid and sometimes I do kind of like get in my head, but it truly like helps me embody the feeling of everything is working out for me. Everything is great. You know, like I'm meditating and I'm going on walks and I'm just like feeling the energy of the music and the wind and the sun, and everything just feels so good and so like, this is where I need to be. This is where I'm meant to be. This is exactly where I need to be. And everything is happening for me. So I guess the purpose of this episode is let go of that fucking shit. Whatever it is, if it's an ex, if it's this pain that you're feeling, if it's this fear that you're going to get hurt again, if it's your parents, whatever, a friend, like let it go. Whatever energy and emotion that you're feeling when you think of that, kind of understand what those feelings are trying to get you to do or think or whatever, right? Like, are you feeling this way because you don't know the answer or this, that, or whatever? Like, I just let all of that shit go. I mean, I can help you if you want to message me about your current situation, whatever it is that you're feeling with whomever it may be, like how to process and how to just let that shit go. Because sometimes, like, I mean, not sometimes, letting go is fucking hard, obviously. Like, I didn't want to let go of this person that means absolutely nothing to me just because I think he's cute. That was insane. Like, there have been a few days where I'm driving and I'm thinking of how unhinged that was. The obsessive, it's an addiction. Literally, the feeling that I can describe it to be and resemble the most is an actual addiction to whatever feeling, whatever it is that I got from that validation, from that person. You know, it's the nicotine, it's everything, anything that is causing you to feel some kind of negative way and you can't let that go and you're still seeking that out. That's an addiction, baby. That is an addiction. And why do people get addicted to things? Because you're escaping, right? Whatever it is in that moment that you're feeling you don't want to feel, and you feel like you need this other outer thing to make you feel good, when you just have to take a look within inside, like whatever it is that you're expecting and wanting from this outer thing, you 100% can do that for yourself. You absolutely can. You have to believe it, and it's gonna be hard to let it go. But you have to let it go. You have to. It's not a like you should, it's like you have to. To move on, you have to let things go. Period. Otherwise, you're gonna be stuck wherever it is that you are, in the past, stuck in limbo, stuck in your head, truly, you gotta let it go. Whatever it is that you felt, whatever it is that you went through, you know, and that's me included. That's not just with the side piece, that's with my past relationship with my ex-husband. It's like conscious, like constantly reminding myself that I was that bitch before him, I was that bitch during, and I will always be that bitch. When someone like my ex-husband, sociopath, narcissist, whatever, when they prey on people, they're preying on people that have what it is that they want. And with people like him, they want someone who's got it going on. They want someone who looks a certain way, who behaves a certain way, who has certain things, so that they can break them down, right? They're not going to just pick up someone. Obviously, you're going to have to be slightly wounded, and that's going to be more emotional. That's how they're able to manipulate you, right? But like on the outer, because they are so egocentric and like image based, they're gonna want someone who from the outside is going to be impressive to other people, right? So the fact that they even chose you meant that you had something, right? And that something is the power. I had the power. We have the power. We were not the like weak fucking damaged, like Bambi, whatever, injured. No, we had that power, and that is what drew them to us. Unfortunately, we didn't believe in ourselves or feel a certain way about ourselves enough to hang on to that power and walk away. Instead, we decided to hand that power over to this person who wanted it to use and abuse us. But we had that. We had it going on before them. We will always have it going on. And it really is just the mind games that they put in our heads to make us feel insecure, to make us feel like someone else isn't going to want us. And all of that is like a manipulation so that you don't feel good about yourself, so that you don't leave them. So that is something that I have to constantly remind myself that I had it going on. I still have it going on. And yes, I'm unlearning all of these things. And sometimes, I mean, I'm going to be honest, sometimes I do get in my head about it. Like just basic communicating with people, you know, like sometimes I'll be like, oh, do they think I'm dumb? Like, do they think I'm incompetent? Like, am I a blonde? You know, like, oh, do they think, you know, one of the things I told Sweet Baby Angel whenever we were out, it was probably one of the last bars that we were at. And I said, you know, I was like, sometimes I do get, you know, like a little insecure and I might second guess myself, you know, like if I'm talking to like a client or something and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, I'm 31. And they're like, oh my God, girl, like I thought you were like 25 or 26. And I'm like, oh yeah, like that's awesome. But then there's always this like little part in the back of my head that's like, oh, did they think that I'm like 25, 26 because I'm immature? Do they think I'm immature? And I remember I was telling him I was definitely word vomiting in this moment. And one of the last things I remember saying was just talking about the appearance and the age. And he kind of just looked at me and he was like, I'm pretty sure they're talking about your appearance. And then I start like rambling a little more and he just looked at me and he was just like, stop. Like and I was like, why? Oh, because I'm amazing. And he's like, yeah, you're fine. You're amazing, blah, blah, blah. And then he kissed me and I was like, oh. But I even second guess all of that, you know, just conscious effort, conscious. That means like being aware, being awake of your every waking thought. And if it's not what you want it to be, to shift it, right? It's like I could second guess everything and be like, oh, I think he just, you know, like he's just wanting to hook up or he just wants this or maybe he's not really that good of, you know, You can easily spiral. It's not hard to do, to just, and especially if you're neurodivergent like me and have PTSD from an abusive relationship and whatever else. It's not hard to spiral. And that spiral can take you fucking on. But again, that's just where it comes, is the awareness and the conscious effort of hearing your thoughts, listening to what you're thinking, and asking yourself, is this thought beneficial to me in any kind of way? Is me thinking like, oh, maybe he's just this, that, blah, 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 blah. Maybe he thinks I'm insecure. Blah, blah, blah. Like, is that beneficial to you? Is that beneficial to me? No, absolutely not. So you just like be aware that you're thinking that and shift it. Shift it. You know, like what I'm thinking now is just whatever is meant for me is gonna happen. It's happening. It's all in motion right now. Anything can happen, but anything that does happen is meant for me. I think whenever I was spiraling and texting the group chat, I was like, okay, like either he's like my angel, or, you know, he's another learning lesson. And either way, it's for me, right? I'm not fixated. I'm not like clinging on to this. There's an abundance of possibilities. Either way, the universe has my back. And I will 100% believe that with all of my fucking heart and soul. And that is the purpose of me having a podcast, is just helping everyone wake up and realizing that we are the creator of our lives, not the victim of our lives. And it is so easy and addicting to be a victim of your circumstances, but you're not going to feel strong, right? You're going to feel like a victim. You're going to feel like whatever, everyone's out to get you, things aren't working for you, this, that, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Or just step the fuck up, wake yourself up, get out of that funk, and like embody the fact that you are that bitch, and you can have, be, and do anything that you want in your life. You have to believe it, and you have to let go of all of that negative shit, all of the limiting beliefs, all of the things that are keeping you stuck, and also realizing that you're the one that's keeping you stuck. No one else is doing that. You know, we can blame our exes, we can blame our parents, we can blame our circumstances, but at the end of the day, it's us. It is our lives. It is what we are actively choosing to believe, to feel. It's like we're in the matrix, you know, like we just snap your fingers and get your fucking shit together. And the best way to do that is it's just being aware, and it's just a knowing, right? I think I've talked about this before, where I think in middle school, like growing up, I believed in God. And after a certain age, I was like, it was probably, I was never really religious. My dad is like Buddhist and my mom's Catholic, but we didn't really go to church or anything like that. They didn't push religion on me. I think I had a choice. I went to temple for a little bit to learn like Vietnamese and meditate and stuff like that. But I think after the second day, I was like, I don't want to be here. And they didn't make me. So, and I wore like a purity ring because of the Jonas Brothers. But also, yeah, in middle school, I wore a purity ring. And I went to church like a few times with some friends. And I think in high school, again, I went to church a couple times with some friends, but it was really just because everyone else went to this church. And the guy that I was obsessed with since middle school also went to this church. So I was like, that's why I want to be there. But majority of the people who went to this church, I know what they be doing on the weekends. I know what they're like. A lot of the guys cheat on their girlfriends, this, that, or whatever. Yet here we are in this establishment acting like we're whatever, right? And I remember one of the pastors said something about like, I don't know, church is more than just going like on Wednesdays. You got to be here on Sundays. And if you're going to work instead of going to church, blah, blah, blah. Like that just made me feel some type of way. And then the final like straw was this girl. Again, I know her. I know what she be doing. And I hadn't come to church in a while. And so I did. And then she was like, oh my God, it's so good to see you here. And I was just like, whatever. So I kind of just had my mind made up that I didn't want to be there, right? We don't want to be judging people, but all of these people here acting like they're a certain kind of person when they're not. And I kind of just decided, I was like, I want to be a certain kind of person. And I don't think I need to go to church to be that kind of person. I think I can choose to believe and choose love and peace and this, that, or whatever. And somewhere along the line, I think also after reflecting on my childhood and stuff like that, I kind of decided that like, if God was real, then all of this shit that happens to people wouldn't happen. Like that was kind of my mindset for, because I was molested and a few times as a kid. And then I feel grateful that it wasn't anything more. I used to believe that like if I was actually raped or something more traumatic happened, I used to think that like I don't know if I would be strong enough to like get over something like that. So I would always be grateful that it just was what it was and wasn't anything more hardcore. But also thinking about the other people who have gone through more hardcore shit, I kind of just decided that like, I feel like if God was real, this shit wouldn't happen, And I didn't really label myself as an atheist. I didn't not believe in God, but maybe more like agnostic. I don't know. Like I didn't put a label on it. I was just like, I just believe in being a good person, to be honest. And now that I am more on like this spiritual journey and loving manifestation and law of attraction, I definitely believe in a higher power and a higher being and just being sure and having faith in whatever it is that you believe. But that is just it, right? That's just having faith that everything is working for you and everything is going to work out. The stress, the anxiety, the second guessing, all of those feelings that we feel, again, very normal, very human, it's protecting us, right? But in a sense, it's also keeping us stuck and still. It keeps us from wanting to make a choice. It keeps us from deciding anything because we're so stuck in like, well, what if this, what if that, what if that, blah, blah. So then we just stay here instead of taking that shit off to the curb and moving forward. And again, the only way, the best way to move forward freely, fulfilled, is by letting it go. And by letting it go, it could be anything, right? Letting go of the belief of, whatever, like, oh, your ex cheated on you, or your ex abused you, or your mom hated you or yelled at you, your dad was never there, you weren't loved, this, that, or whatever. Like, just letting go of all of those beliefs. Because when we hang on to that, right, like attracts like. You might think that you're a certain person, you might want to attract all of these things, but you may not be aware of the thoughts that you are thinking. And whenever that happens, it's like you're contradicting yourself. You want all of these things, but deep down, you don't really feel like you're worthy of it. And that can show up in many different ways. And again, some people just aren't aware of how it shows up. That's why you got to put in the work and meditate and think your thoughts and like really get in there and be with yourself and be present and work through all of those things versus escaping or doing whatever it is that we be doing to distract ourselves or to make us, we're living in this like false reality. But again, 2 + 2, pretty simple. Letting shit go. Just letting it go because it's causing you pain, either physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. It is causing pain and you to be stuck when you're clinging on to this. And until you let it go, nothing else is going to unravel, really. Because again, everything is working for you. So whatever it is that you're holding on to doesn't get to work for you because you haven't let it go. You haven't let it go so that reality can set in, right? Like this thing that we're holding on to is like this box, this armor, this bubble. And it feels safe because it's familiar. You may not like how it feels, right? Like me hanging on side piece, it's safe and familiar, even though it was stupid and just silly, but it's like, oh, I've been doing this for months and I've been getting attention from this person for months and like, blah, blah, blah. Like, what am I going to do with all of my time? Just, it is so simple. You might be clinging on to the victim mentality of, always dating the wrong person or this person, like, this always happens whenever I date or this, that, or whatever. And like, you're clinging on to that thought, that memory, because it's safe and it's what you know. And in a sense, it is keeping you, I already said, safe, because it's just, you've got this wrapped around you like a blanket, like an armor. And you're afraid to let it go because you're afraid to be vulnerable because you're afraid that that's going to happen again. But anything can happen. And again, like attracts like. So you're clinging on to this, right? And you might, in the timeline of whatever space or whatever, you meet someone, right? And wow, they like you and you like them and you have a lot in common and blah, 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 right? And like you're still holding on to this strong thought, memory, attract, and again, like attracts like. So potentially you can be and probably are manifesting this same person in a different body, and you have a great, however, first few months, and then they turn out to do whatever it is or that you've been so afraid is going to happen, and inevitably it happens because you chose this person based off of your fear, off of what you don't want, right? Like you're focusing on all of the negative, so then you're attracting the negative. Versus when you let it go, let it ride, let go of that, be fucking vulnerable. Be vulnerable. And trust, right? You let that shit go. You don't feel this heavy burden. You don't feel this negative energy. You don't feel like you're living in fight or flight or that you're just in survival mode, right? You're gonna feel naked. It's gonna feel really strange. It's gonna feel bizarre because it's different. But after time, you're going to feel light and airy and like you're floating and you're smiling more and you're smiling like through your eyeballs and your face. And like this energy about you is so natural and bright and captivating. And when you're walking by, people sense your energy. People can sense energies, right? If you're like uptight, brittle, whatever, like people can sense your energy based off of how you hold yourself and just little social cues of your face. Like, you know, you can line up line up a line of people and they can all be smiling and you can sense the energy within their smile and their faces. It's very subtle. You know, how many of us are smiling when we're not really that happy? And you notice the difference between when you're actually happy and when you're not, right? But some people aren't even aware that they're not happy. But when you are truly happy, wow. It is just like absolutely the best feeling to be happy with yourself, to love yourself, to just love and love life. And you're just game for anything and everything. All of the potentiality, all of the abundance, all of the love, all of the people that you get to meet in your life and have a connection with. And when things don't work out, just being grateful for the fact that you knew this person, got to share an experience with this person, right? And then you let it go and you move on to the next person. And of course, you know, I had this thought earlier when I was getting in the shower of like the fear or whatever. Like a lot of times when I'm getting ready or when I'm driving or whatever, I like to embody and visualize what I'm feeling in this moment and what I'm feeling for the future. Like we're manifesting, right? So I like to embody like how I feel when I have my partner, the partner that I've been waiting for my whole life, right? How I feel in love with them and how they feel in love with me, like literally how it feels in my body, like just releasing those chemicals and really, I know I keep saying feeling, like really feel it. Like it's actually happening. Like I'm actually in love right now. Like I actually have this partner, and what it feels like when we're at the altar, what it feels like when we have our first kid, what it feels like, you know, like just looking at this person and breathing in their skin and looking at them smile and them being happy and me being happy, like what it feels like for me and what it feels like for them and what we're wanting out of each other and all that stuff. Like it's just like a really quick, like time lapse of all of the things. And I did have this thought of like, I want to, you know, like this thought came up to where I thought, oh my God, let me just say that 5 more times. Thought. I was thinking like, I want to do it right this time. I mean, there isn't a right or wrong, but you know, listening to all these personal development stuff and dating and reading the Why Men Love Bitches, you know, I'm second guessing because I'm already hooking up with Sweet Baby Angel. But that's because we've already hooked up before. And I'm like, wait, am I ruining it already because we're already intimate? Because I'm listening to all this stuff and they say like, you know, like I'm trying to hold off, and what if it doesn't work out because this and that and you know, the whole like maybe him not being available emotionally or this, that, or whatever. Like I don't want to feel like I'm raising a kid by myself, and sure, I can be grateful for the fact that he's providing this, that, or whatever. Like all of these things just like flashed through my head. And me thinking like, oh, I want to make sure this is right, in a sense of like, whenever I married my ex-husband, like I literally did not think about it. I did not think about it. it was kind of just like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll have health insurance. Yeah, we'll see where this goes. Like, we're signing a piece of paper. We are committing to each other. I did not think about that at all. However, I did think, whenever he did want to buy a house, a bigger house, I was like, that's a huge commitment. Like, but, let's get married, right? So that spiraling thought of, what if he isn't the one? What if I'm getting caught up like I always do in this, that, or whatever? And then we start dating and then we waste time. But the thing is, like, time isn't actually ever really wasted. If you're marching forward and if you're learning from your experiences, time is never wasted. Everything is an opportunity to learn so that you can be better every day. But that's just what I have to tell myself whenever I start spiraling, because I do be spiraling. So I don't want, if you guys are listening, to think that I don't have negative thoughts, that I don't feel insecure sometimes, that I'm just like this bubbly, amazing, happy person all the time. No, I have feelings, I have insecurities, I have, things that I'm working through. Obviously, if you are listening, every other week is like, spiral. Because we're human, right? We're going to get scared. There's going to be fear. There's going to be what ifs. And it is simply just letting go and trusting in the universe and having faith that everything is working out for you. And I will believe that. I believe that with all of my heart and soul. I will preach it with all of my heart and soul. Everything's happening for me. Slay. So I'm just going to leave it right there. Maybe I should wrap it up, actually. So when you find yourself in a transition period, what do we do? When we are in transition, right? When we are about to start something, when we are, quitting a job, blah, 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 moving in, like, there's this excitement. But then there's also, like, you feel fear because it's change and it's different, right? Just literally trusting. And I'm going to keep saying the same thing over and over and over again. Trust yourself. Become the version of yourself that you can trust. Because if there's anybody in life that you can trust, it should be you. So keep showing up for yourself. Keep doing the work. Achieve little goals so that your brain can start training itself to trust yourself, so that you're more confident and sure in who you are, and you're more confident and sure that you can do things, so that you can believe in yourself and trust your intuition and trust your judgment on top of trusting faith in the universe. Because the thing is, actually, like, sure, I don't know if you can truly trust the universe and have faith if you don't have that within yourself. Because when you are stuck, you are wanting something different. You're wanting this future you, right? But when you're stuck, you continue to make choices that are going to make you stuck. So when you are making those same choices, your subconscious is aware that you're saying you want this, but in fact, you're not doing what it is going to take to get there. You're doing the same thing over and over and over again. So your subconscious doesn't even trust you don't trust yourself, because you're not making the effort or the choices that are different than the ones you've been making, right? Like, you're making these same choices over and over and over again, when in your head you want different things. You're not going to get those different things by making the same choices. And when you continue to make the same choices, you're not going to trust yourself, and then you're not going to trust the universe, right? So you're not going to manifest. You're not going to have the life that you want and desire, because you don't believe that you can. And that's how it all works, is believing that you can, right? But manifesting is more than just wanting. You have to take action. You have to take those steps to move forward, shift your mindset, shift your energy, vibrate at a higher frequency. And when things start happening, like these little synchronicities, that's the universe reaching out to you. When you're seeing these angel numbers, when again, like you think of a word or you think of an animal, and then literally an hour later, someone else says that word, or you see it on TV or whatever. It's like you're in it. And it's woo woo and it's freaky and blah, blah, blah. But it is real. It's real. It's happening. Everything is in motion. I am going to leave it right there. Thank you guys for listening. Bye.